Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Helck, episode 18, in which, hopefully, the flashback will finally end. Don't get me wrong, it's a good story. It shows us all the answers, or most of the answers, to the questions that we were asking. So from that perspective alone, I do enjoy the current story. On the other hand, though, you gotta say it's taking a little bit of time, isn't it? We are, almost nearing, well, not almost nearing the finale of the season, but we gotta remember that this season is 24 episodes. This is episode 18. So after it's done, I guess we're gonna have, assuming the flashbacks are done in today's episode, we're still gonna have only quote unquote 6 episodes of the main story, and that's kind of what I'm interested in. Not so much in the backstory. Uh, Maybe that's not fair either. I am interested in the backstory, but I guess I would be a little bit more interested in it if all those details, all those secrets were being revealed to us piecemeal, right? Bit by bit, rather than just getting episodes long, essentially info dump of, well, okay, again, info dump is not fair to what we're seeing, but essentially explaining everything in one go, in a single go. Imagine watching, I don't know, uh, Symphogear, and halfway through the second season, you get a flashback to Finn's life and how the gods did what, etc., etc. Right? It really would take away that mystery in one fell swoop. So I'm really having mixed feelings. On the other hand, they are introducing some more mystery. So we're not getting rid of it all. We're just switching what is the mystery. Initially, the mystery was who is Helck, what are his motivations, what are his goals, less so that. Who are the angels, right? Those were the questions. Everything now seems to have an answer. And now the questions are who is the king? Why are the monsters attacking humans? And that's it, basically. And that's basically it. So it's a trade off. It's a trade off. I only wonder how will I be receiving Helck as a character after we are done with this flashback. Now, again, don't get me wrong, I don't think I'm gonna be receiving him negatively, right? My opinion of him as a character will not change. But it was different when Helck was that mysterious protagonist, or rather, mysterious main character who isn't the protagonist, right? This kind of sort of deal. It was fun to think about it. It was fun to wonder. It was fun seeing Helck get super serious at times and get the shadow over his eyes and go rip and tear and theorize why, right? What made him this way? How can he be a nice guy one moment and then a monster the next? What happened there? And this is just kind of taking away some of that mystery. So I wonder how's that gonna work. And and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the time. Flashbacks are fun. Flashbacks are fine, but maybe not when the flashbacks take half a core, right? Regardless, in the last episode, what happened? There was a continuation of the fight in the king's chamber. There was the like full and proper reveal that it's because of because of Kless, that the king is able to to cast the heroification spell or whatever. We know that it's probably not the case because Kless is dead and he can still create heroes. Maybe, kinda, sorta. I know, maybe Kless isn't dead. He certainly did sacrifice himself to not kill Helck, right? Kless was ordered kill Helck, and he would rather stab himself in the neck and die than kill his own brother. Helck had a little bit of a breakdown. That's an understatement. We got to see some really, really interesting faces of Helck, and he started emanating that dark aura similar to the one we saw around the Tothman King. So I wonder if it's somehow similar, maybe-ish. Then, what's her face? Alicia calmed him down. He passed out and woke up in a cave somewhere in the countryside. His companions are supposedly still fighting or something. So he grabbed a sword, grabbed his cape, and rushed away to help them, all full of spunk and hope and happiness, and that will probably be dashed. And he will probably fall into despair again, and I kind of hope it's gonna be the last time he falls into despair, that this will be, the final blow, that he will finally set off towards the demon empire, the demon kingdom. Again, it doesn't seem fair to say that, but the flashback is kind of overstaying its welcome, and I'm finding it harder and harder to care about people who I know will not survive. Right? It would be different if this was at the very beginning of the series. Now that I know what happened to Zelgion, I know what happened to Edel, I suspect what happened to Alicia, I know what happened to Helck. Kinda loses any sort of suspense, and I'm just waiting for them to tell this story, to go through with it, to reveal the one last bit of why Helck is the way he is, and we can go back to the main story finally. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm really finding it hard to care about any of the characters that I know how they will end. There's no suspense, no nothing. But regardless of that, I'm gonna continue watching because it's a good show ultimately. I just don't agree with some choices made. Right, so that's the episode, the previous one, 17, and episode 18. Today's what do I expect from it? Helck's gonna meet his compatriots. And that's about the only expectation I can have. I would like to say that everybody will die and Helck will run off towards the Demon Kingdom, but I feel like it might be vain hope, and I feel, or fear maybe more aptly, that Helck might find his companions, and then they will create a resistance force and they will fight together against the king for 2 more episodes, and it will be only in episode 21 that Helck finally breaks, but haha, he doesn't, because I know, Raphael finds him, and it just continues. Episode 24 will be when we go back to the main story, only for the series to end. That's my fear right now. Unfortunately, my tea is still too hot for drinking, so I'm gonna have to make do with water. But water is good for ya, so that's fine. Okay, so with all of that, how about we just start watching, right? Stop talking, start watching. To do that, you will need your subs to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show. What the fuck is that? Oh, it's a piece of my headphones. Cool. And I'm also gonna have to ask you guys for your support. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or YouTube, linked down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with all of that out of the way, we can start watching episode 18 of Helck in 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, I hope. I mean, I hope. I don't hope because I know how it's gonna end. uh, Again, that's why I like flashbacks when they are like half an episode long, and give some context, give some backstory. This is a little much, not gonna lie, a little much. We are still yet to see the train. So I'm hopeful that there is still some story left after the flashbacks end. And I strongly suspect that Kless does actually still live. Although perhaps live is too much said. He's kept alive to serve as a catalyst for heroification process. That's how I would say it, I guess. Okay, show me what you got, episode 18. Smile. Last smile before death? Probably, let's be honest here. That's a lot of people. Of course, easy. A bunch of goons is nothing for him. Oh, is this Helck having, like, flashbacks of when he was coming in and out of consciousness? Yeah, I guess it is. All of them are probably dead. Except Edil. Edil became an angel. Okay, thank you for some blood. I was afraid it's gonna be cartoon violence. I mean, for the most part it is, but a little bit of blood kind of alleviates that. Oh, so was it Harol who was taking care of Helck? Yep, that's bleeding. Heroes? Heroes. Who's leading them, though? He looks special. Okay, so are those Helck's memories, or what is it? Or is it just flashbacks within flashbacks? Not necessarily something that Helck remembers, but rather showing us some context, question mark? Okay, so it is Helck's memories. Gotcha. Oh, the blood technique of catching the blade with his ribs? Fighting with a broken sword? Do I know you? Right, so everybody was there, and they brought him to the cave and went on to fight on their own, I would guess. Victory. Oh? A hero? That's who he is. Right, because they keep their experience even after they die and resurrect. And there goes everybody's body. They went on back to the king's chamber to be resurrected. That's why the king can throw an endless amount of bodies at Helck. Alicia? Shalami? Alicia. I mean, you're probably not gonna let her live anyway, so. Oh, it's this motherfucker. Q Helck arriving, or is he not going to be there on time? Yeah. Everybody is getting betrayed by the people they tried to help. Helck? Helck? Not quite as I expected, but sure, I'll take it. Now, Helck. Helck's watching them. Helck's dark aura. Helck's dark aura. Okay, now kill everybody. The audience, the executioner, sorry. The whole capital, ideally. It's a fairly shoddy armor, I'm gonna let you know. Close your fist. Now. Close your fist, please. Right. Everybody was doing it, and now they are just pushing the blame onto each other. Humanity really is rotten, isn't it? Okay, you're just gonna let him live, I guess. Unless he's gonna splatter on the wall? I'm gonna believe he splattered on the wall. Yeah, he probably feels guilty that he spent so much time incapacitated. To the demon country. Yep. Cue the townsman throwing stones. Because he mentioned demons. Snow. Rafaed? Hello, Rafaed. Now punch his head off his shoulders, please. While you have the chance. Or not. Or just let him live. Do you even have any right to be talking about all of that? How exactly? Oh, she's getting heroified. Right. Everybody's Snow. Snow's doing it, isn't it? Ah, fuck. Snow mixing with blood. Right, humans just use 10% of their brains, right? Should have killed the noble. You would have had one less awakened to worry about. Is Kless still alive? Or can the plan proceed without Kless? Why are you not mutating? Well, it doesn't seem to have any effect on demons. So there is somewhere to hide from it. And it really seems like the plan backfired even against the nobles. Who would have thunk? But it was all for naught. Okay, so what's up with you, Rafael? You gave a speech like you were a good guy who was forced to work with the bad guys, but you were complicit in everything? Were you also being deceived by the king? Or are you just a two-faced piece of shit? Yep, she's no longer... Okay, she's still here. A little bit. I honestly would have expected her to ask Helck to kill her before she turns. And there we go. Yeah. Well, of course he's not gonna be able to do that. I want to die while I'm still human. How will you be able to recognize me? Although we know that it's not true. People do take different forms. Edil is very different from the goons, right? I mean, you can't really stop it. Kinda too late for that. Most you can hope for is reversing it somehow. And she's no longer here. Oh, one last smile. The title of the episode. Yep, the smile. And there she turns. And that's the episode. Honestly, it really felt much shorter. So it really seems like we're gonna get one more episode of a flashback. Half an episode at the very least. Audible sigh. Okay. The tea is finally good enough for drinking. Chamomile and pear. This episode, it made me want to grab the characters by the shoulders and scream in their face what they should do, a little less than the other episodes in the flashback. So, hey, I call it progress. Vermilio of the Four Elite Lords, so I'm assuming the next episode is gonna be actually the end of the flashbacks and we're gonna be back to the main storyline. Okay, so now let's watch it again and see if we can get a little bit more value out of this episode per chance. Yeah, it was Helck seeing in his moments of lucidity, seeing everybody, including Harol. Interesting that. Interesting that Edil, Zelgion, Alicia, even I'm assuming the bird helmet angel is Alicia. They all seem to be very, maybe not very, but they seem to be the kind of honorable antagonists. Meanwhile, Harul is shady, angry, etc., etc. That's very interesting because supposedly, as far as we know, the heroification process gets rid of people's self, people's personality, people's ego, whatever you want to call it. But they don't all just become bland puppets. The goons, yes, but it would seem that stronger people do keep some bits of their personality, and they have a personality. They have a self in the end. That's very interesting because it leads me to maybe not believe, but I'm kind of having copium here, hopium rather. I'm kind of having hopium that the process of heroification could perhaps be reversed. And if not, then at least the stronger people who still have some shards of their personality within them can be brought back to sanity. It's usually the case that if you kill the caster, their spell disperses. So I wonder if that would be the case here. Alternatively, since they are all obedient to the king, if the king dies, they would have nobody to be obedient to, which would imply they have some modicum of free will, or full free will even. Either that, or they completely freeze in place without any orders. Could go either way, but there is that possibility, right? There is the distinct possibility that killing the king could at least make saving them all possible. Worst case scenario, it might make saving them possible in the way of whatchamacallit, killing them, giving them mercy, right? So they can just die in peace, finally get out of the circle of constant resurrection in the king's chambers. Also another very interesting thought. Should the process not be reversible, that would mean the extinction of human race. It would mean Helck being the last human. Unless there are still enclaves of humanity around the continent, or perhaps on different continents, it really would mean extinction of humanity. I wonder if they want to go in that direction. Humans are no more because humans created this fate to other humans, or is humanity going to be restored? That's another factor that gives me a little bit of hope that perhaps some humans can still be saved. But that's like way into the future. I'm talking, I know, probably hasn't been touched upon even in the source material. Maybe the light novel, is it based on a light novel or is it based on a manga? I'm not sure. I know there is a manga, but is manga based on a light novel? I don't know. The source material might have touched upon that, if it did at all, but I don't think we are quite there yet. Unless the source material is completed, in which case, what do I know? Yep, everybody was dying. You have to survive. I won't ever give up. And he killed himself because he can just be resurrected at the king's chambers, like everybody else. Humans being scumbags, of course. Helck's aura. Very strong, very powerful. And then as soon as he saves Alicia, that aura just disappears. It really seems to me like that aura is some sort of manifestation of evil, to, I know, the best way I can put it. Not necessarily evil, but like manifestation of aggression, desire to kill, those sorts of, I know, low instincts, something kind of sort along those lines, right? The Tothman King, for example, when the Tothman King got that aura and it enveloped him, he just stopped thinking and started mindlessly berserking around. So I wonder if this is about those like berserk instincts, maybe, and higher emotions, higher feelings like friendship, love, happiness, etc. suppress that. That's why the aura was suppressed by Alicia, because camaraderie, love, friendship, the higher emotions. Maybe, actually, let me note it down. I think I have it noted that the aura is like a manifestation of evil or bad emotions. But I wonder if the distinction between higher emotions and lower emotions will be important. Mm-hmm. Black aura is lower emotions, higher emotions. Suppress it. To the demon realm. And yeah, of course, I kind of missed that because I'm skipping. The humans just immediately turn pure opportunistic behavior. Right? The guy who's in charge is punching the other guy, rather, guy A punches guy B and is winning. Wow, we are with guy A. Guy A, you go punch him. Guy B starts punching down guy A and is winning. Everybody's like, oh, guy A, you sucks. Guy B, we're with you. We were always with you all this time. He actually bribed us to cheer for him, but we didn't want that. Right? I'm starting to hate humanity together with Helck. That's what it really does well. That's what this flashback really does well. You really start loathing the humans in this world. And oddly enough, those humans, they aren't really behaving in any like super over exaggerated way, are they? They aren't really. The noble, sure, some singular individuals, but overall, that's kind of how humans work. Which is an interesting thought to sleep on. And Rafaed. I really have no fucking clue what's his deal. He comes here saying like, oh, Helck, you did well. You survived, but we live in a world that is both incomplete and illogical. And you will be led the path of in greater despair. This is a spell that turns people into monsters. And yeah, there's no escaping it. It will affect nobles and commoners alike. And you go Helck, otherwise you will have to bite the husks of your friends. What's his deal? I really don't know. I wonder. It seems like the nobles were deceived by the king. The plan was we turn the peasants into heroes so that they can fight and they can be efficient workers so that us nobility can just rule them and have fun with that. Right? That was the plan. But it seems like the nobles are also included in that plan and they will also be turned into monsters. They will also be awakened whether they want it or not. And they probably don't. Which makes me wonder, was Rafaed perhaps one of those nobles? He thought that he's going to be an exception? He certainly seems to be an exception. He's not mutating despite the snow falling on him. If he too was betrayed by the king, I guess it would explain his words towards Helck, right? He's like, oh, I lost my plan, I was betrayed, right? I will also turn into a monster. Might as well give you some last advice. This is the plan. This is what's happening. Go, Helck. It's too late for me. I will stay here and take the penance for what I've done. Right? This kind of sort of deal. He's not turning though. I have really no clue what's his deal. Is it some lingering sentiment for Helck because he essentially he essentially raised Helck and Kless, so he kind of sort of thinks of him as his son a little bit, maybe. I know. I've really no clue what to think of Raphael. Also, what about Shalami? Maybe he's broken like that because Shalami was turned into a hero. That's plausible. Yeah, they really look nothing like those muscular angels that were paraded around the city. It probably takes time. Perhaps the form changes with experience, right? The more experience you get, the more human you become in appearance. And after you are strong enough, gain enough experience, you start forming some sort of a consciousness rather. Maybe. I know, I'm not sure how it works still. Yeah, they essentially explode. Their minds can take it, their bodies cannot take it either. And then be reborn as organic weapons that only follow the orders of the king. And yeah, of course, she wants to be killed. That's the, like, one and only logical conclusion in situations like that, right? Whether someone's bitten in a zombie movie, whether it's, I don't know, situation from Nikkei Goddess of Victory, someone gets corrupted and asks the commander to shoot them, right? It happens all the time. It's a staple whenever someone gets taken by something that can make them turn against their friends or turn them into a monster or whatever. They either hide it or ask to be killed while they are still human. Makes perfect sense. But we get a very interesting, I don't want to say reversal, because it's not a reversal of the trope, but there is a nice, like, addition. Those people from the trope of kill me while I'm still human, they usually end up dead. Their friends usually do actually kill them, either while they are still human or after they turn, because they must. And the person asking for death very rarely does concede with the police to, oh no, we can find a cure, just hang on, it's just a kilometer more, then we will find, I don't know, something that can help you, right? They very rarely go with it. Alicia did go with it. She actually was convinced by Helck, saying that, hey, okay, I'm gonna do my best to hang in there, even after I turn, just, you know, come after me, show me your smile. We're gonna fight. If that's our destiny to fight, then sure, we will, but at least let me see you smile as you fight me. Which is a very interesting way it goes. It really feels kind of selfish on Helck's part. It really is selfish on his part, right? Alicia, you keep suffering, you suffer the transformation, you transform, let your mind be broken and your body ripped to shreds, because I don't want to be sad. right? If you think about it, it really is very selfish. But Alicia actually surviving it, quote unquote, is another thing that kind of gives me hope that perhaps there can be a good ending to this whole entire story after the source material even ends, right? Everything ends, everything's wrapped up. It gives me hope there is some sort of a good ending, either a very good ending where everybody gets brought back to humanity, or at least some chunk, or a bittersweet ending where they are no longer under the king's control, under the king's orders, and they can die on their own volition for whatever reason, because what reason would they have if they were no longer under king's orders? I don't know. I know. But yeah, the fact that they are still alive, right? Edil, Alicia, Zelgion, Harul, and that their forms are so similar to their human forms leads me to believe that it's gonna have a little bit more of a role in the story than just, oh, Helck has to fight his former friend. How tragic, right? Because that would be underutilizing that fact, I feel. We'll see. I'm getting like way too ahead in the story. So yeah, we shall see about it. That's one ant carrying another. Huh. Okay, so I think I liked this episode more than a couple of the previous ones. Mostly because it tried to hit certain emotional points, and it did. It actually succeeded. Despite me knowing how it's gonna end, it had an effect. I wasn't here sitting and being like, oh, yeah, whatever. I mean, I know Alicia's gonna die, so get on with it. I didn't not care. So that was done well, because in the previous episodes, I really had moments of, you know, get on with it. I'm seeing I see what you're trying to do there, but it's not really working because I know how it's gonna end. So get on with the story already. Not so much the case in this episode. So thumbs up for that. I also didn't have the urge to strangle main characters here, right? Helck wasn't behaving like an absolute moron. Nobody was behaving like an absolute moron here. So that's an improvement over the last two episodes. Hey, right? That's cool. Would I have liked for Helck to actually deal some death? Yes. Am I fine with the fact that he didn't? Also, yes. On one hand, it seems odd that Helck, being in this berserk state, would just calmly walk up onto the stage and rescue Alicia and not kill at least that nobleman. It does seem odd, but at the same time, it kind of seems on brand for the show. Because it's not a revenge story like Arifureta, for example. That's not the main drive. This story isn't about a fallen, superpowered guy who goes around killing his enemies, walking a mountain of corpses to get to his goal because the world has wronged him. Ultimately, it's about heroes. Helck isn't acting out of self-interest, not entirely. He's acting out of the interest of humanity, I would say. Because if the entire humanity has been turned into awakened soldiers, and assuming they cannot be turned back, then, in the best interest of humanity, would be to eradicate it. Because it's not a life, it's mindless existence. Helck is ultimately a hero. And heroes carry hope and life, not death. So as much as I would have liked to see the nobleman squashed onto the wall into a bloody pulp, I'm fine with him experiencing perhaps a fate worse than death, but not dying at the hands of Helck. Yeah, I'm having like two different feelings towards it. Right? On one hand, yeah, I would like it would be cathartic to me as the viewer to see Helck just rampage through the city. On the other hand, I think after the rampage he would come to. He would look at his bloodied hands and mourn what kind of a character he has become. Right? So I'm fine with that. I'm fine with everything that's happened. I'm really wondering about Rafaed. What's his deal? How is he not turning? Or maybe he's gonna turn soon off screen. And I'm mostly curious about the king's motivations, because I don't think they are as simple as let's conquer the neighboring countries. We need more land. There's something more to it, 100%. And I'm really wondering about Kless. Is Kless truly no longer necessary for the plan? He was used only to kickstart the process? And now that there are more heroes, we can just use them as catalysts? Or is Kless, as shown in the opening, stripped of his skin, connected to some magical veins and pumps and machinery, and artificially kept alive so that the spell can continue? I wonder if for the big resolution, Helck will have to kill Kless to get him out of his misery. Because he can no longer be saved, he can no longer function without the machinery, he is only being used to power the spell, so it would be mercy for him to be killed. And if he can be killed by the hand of his own brother, that would be preferable. I wonder. But again, that's a little bit too far into the future to be thinking about it. I don't think this season is gonna cover it. Certainly don't. I don't think the next 5 seasons would cover it, assuming such an amount would be made. So, yeah. I guess that's gonna be it. I guess I said my piece on the topic of this episode. Cool. Overall, an improvement over the previous ones. I would still like to go back to the main story. Thank you very much. So, what did you think? What did you guys think of this episode? Tell me all about it in the comments. What did you think of my reaction, my theories, stuff like that? No spoilers, please, I beg of you. Spoilers can go to my Discord here, also in the description below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases, not only Helck but also Magia Record, Shangri-La Frontier, Tatenusha no Nariagari, Saihata no Paladin, Shy, and plenty of others coming at you in the futures. Click the bell to be notified of when I go live, because I do stream sometimes. Support the channel if you want, monetarily on Patreon, monetarily on Patreon, linked in the description below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Magia Record, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me on YouTube itself via memberships, super thanks, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel a lot. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers. And here's the list of my wonderful patrons: QB without the net, the couple survivors, Zayrainer, Aquamancer, David, Dr. Watt, Marshika, Alec Fussel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them too without having to be touched by snow.